I ain't never get my daughter a phone. You fuck right. You fuck right. That's Twitter about. That's why this shit right, y'all. I just like to go in there and just fuck with shit. I just like going down memory lane and shit.
I said, boom, it's your boy Fed, FED, on Fed. I'm just coming to read a little small portion of this script, right? The London Marathon held at Hyde Park in London, or London, okay? Hyde Park, the same place where Nipsey is from. Now let's get this time shit. You know what I'm talking about? It's obvious he got shot at 2:11. So let's listen.
Clothing store. The shooting occurred at approximately 3:20 p.m. No one has been detained. The shooting occurred at 3:20 p.m. He posted this at 2:52 p.m. So Nipsey Hussle was shot and killed 28 minutes after posting this on Twitter. He posted, "Having strong enemies is a blessing," 28 minutes before he was shot and killed. I have no idea if this is related to the shooting at all, if he was talking about the person or people who shot him, but he posted that 28 minutes before he was shot. He was shot at 3:20 p.m. LA time, which is 2 hours ago. This shooting happened 2 hours ago in Los Angeles.
So, you know, I like the wordplay. So, Richard Bronson is the 8th richest man in London, and he hosts through Virgin Mobile the London Marathon, which goes through Hyde Park. So I take the Bronson and go in and mess with Action Bronson. Right, he posted at 5:50 p.m. But he on the East Coast. Nipsey tweeted at 5:52. He tweeted at 5:50. But hold up, we'll get back to that. Check out this mixtape. Yeah, I'm putting it up here again. Because this was posted on March 27th. 4 days before he died. And the last time that person had been logged in was on the 27th, so they didn't go back in and change it. Now back to Action Bronson. If he lived on the East Coast, he should be 3 hours ahead of time. You see what I'm saying? There's something to think about. And why I mention Action Bronson, because his name popping up around Nipsey, the mixtape scene and all that. And so I just take the Bronson from Richard Bronson in the marathon, and I just played with it. I just ran into that tweet at 5:50. And Nipsey tweeted at 5:52 was actually supposed to be 2:52. So was he over there in Los Angeles? Because he's from New York. So if he's in New York, that's 3 hours apart. So that's 2:52, 3:52, 4:52, 5:52. How did he post at 5:50? You did.
Rashad David says apparently this is his daughter. I don't know who the child is, but that is the picture that's floating around today, which is supposedly of Nipsey Hussle shortly before he got shot. And there is a video clip floating around of a man wearing that kind of clothing who is like face down on a parking lot with blood coming out of his head, it looks like. So it very well might be that is him before the shooting. I just can't confirm that.
I told y'all they used that picture right there to set the stage to make us think there was Nipsey on that ground.
Moroccan Culture says, first you said 22 minutes, then you said 28 minutes, then you said 33 minutes. Please, you get your facts straight. Well, I've been saying 28 minutes. One time I said 22 minutes as a mistake. I misspoke. I've been saying 28 minutes because the LAPD had posted the shooting happened at 3:20. Then in the press conference they said 3:25, so I changed it to 33 minutes. So if you've been listening to the broadcast more closely, you would have heard that I was basing my facts on the LAPD's facts. So if you want to complain about the facts changing, please don't message me, message the LAPD.
I said the truth don't don't need no help. It don't bend, break, nor fold.
Before they tweet, how the fuck they tweet before the nigga die? I'm not gonna go back and go, yo, I don't know, I hate when we do that shit like that. I just go to do this shit, man. How they end up with a phone? Why you wanna get a phone up? They done clone your ass now, Teresa. You dead now. You got picked up by them folks in that goddamn straight jacket. Damn, why they down take the BAM video? So it was a duplicate. Probably still got it somewhere.
I was at a Laker game. I just was sitting next to Dave. I never met him. And, you know, by the second half, we had took shots. Everybody was a little friendly, started talking and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He like, yeah, Nip, you know, I got a project I think you're perfect for. Could you pull up to the office in Calabasas tomorrow? I said, all right, I'll come through. Cool. I pull up. He and Will Smith's team had an office together. And, you know, he just showed me the blueprint.
Boom. Do y'all remember me telling y'all that Will Smith was connecting him and Zato to that 360 music company based in London that Jay-Z is so much a part of?
And was like, this is what I'm doing. And so I just automatically knew he was somebody that think like I think. And then he told me a story from LA. Me and Dude connected on a personal level. Like, I respect Dude and I f with him. The blueprint just made perfect sense. So I'm like, what should I do? He like, bro, just ride with me. When it's time to put the play together, you know, we come to the table and lock in.
I want to show you guys that Nipsey Hussle did not own the Marathon Clothing Store, the strip mall, or any of those businesses any longer. A guy by the name of David Gross, who was allegedly his business partner, bought the venture for $2.5 million.
2-month rent right now. This, that, and the third. I think we need to just buy this car wash, man. What you think?
Buy the car wash?
Buy the car wash. Cut the man out, man.
If we gonna buy the car wash, we might as well buy the gas station.
You know what? We need to buy
the block.
That's the move.
That's what we gonna do.
That's the move.
Now we need to hit the lick.
Property, nigga, I'm trying to invest. Property, nigga, I'm trying to invest.
Please welcome David Gross and Whitford T.I. Harris.
This is our opportunity. This is our opportunity. This is our opportunity.
Ready? Ready?
Come on.
Right at that glass, you got this.
Come on.
Ready? And action.
This is our opportunity.
You made me laugh. Hold on, you made me smile. Good job. Do it again.
Come on, you got this.
That was great. Let me keep my face straight.
And action.
This is our opportunity. This is our opportunity. This is our opportunity.
I'm a proud dad, Monty Man. Good job, Monty Man. Good job.
Talk a little bit more about our opportunity, which is the organization that Dave Gross and Nipsey Hussle put together to take what they had been doing in South Central Los Angeles and bring it to other parts of the country and communities like it.
Our opportunity was actually a natural evolution of a prior concept we started. We launched an inner-city-based co-working space called Vector 90, the very grassroots.
I made $10 million, man, and I was on house arrest. She say her jaw's hurt, she need to give
Small
her
business
mouth a rest.
incubator. We learned of the Opportunity Zone legislation at the end of 2017. It was just a natural growth because what we were starting, we always wanted to replicate and scale. So this legislation, when we learned about it, we were like, that's the thing we've needed to expedite growing this and building it up.
We send them Lambos, that's
sticks, nigga. I ain't nothing like you fucking rap niggas. Hustle man, a shooter.
The Opportunity Zone legislation enabled a lot of investment in depressed communities, but what Dave Gross and Nipsey Hussle wanted to do is sort of buy back the block. That's their translation of what could happen if you took this legislation and you connected hometown heroes.
Look how skinny his legs is. So who the fuck legs that is out there on the ground when they turn the nigga over? Look how skinny that boy legs is.
Nipsey Hussle and, enabled them to have the ownership over these communities as opposed to, other people who have no connection.
It's all about your last name meaning something, you heard me? We need to buy the block. Start with you a duplex, work up to a house, maybe a small plaza. We need to buy the block. I'm looking for a mall. Anybody selling the mall, holler at me, you heard me?
Because we gained the knowledge and information to develop corporate structure. As David is implementing, we have opportunities to have insight on certain things that we're able to use to benefit the growth of the community.
Why would somebody put fake news out about $15 million about this guy here? This guy here ain't came out and said nothing. But the meeting that was supposed to be held the following day before his death was called by him. So how could they have the audacity to go ahead and continue a meeting with a representative from Nipsey Hussle one day after his death? I said,
That it's unfortunate that Nipsey really did trust David Gross because David Gross is black. And I think what happens is people find a kinship with people that look like them, and it doesn't seem like they do too much vetting into the type of business deals that these people have done.
That the world can understand Jay-Z and P. Diddy faster than they are. I pray that those two men are able to start relaying their message a little more similar so we can catch on faster. I pray to God that He show us the new Nipsey before he pass away. He show us the new Nipsey before he pass away. He show us the new Nipsey before he pass away. I want to know the new Luther King. I want to know the new Nipsey. I want to know the new God before he pass away. I want to experience that feeling.
Where did he come from? All of my friends, look, y'all not understanding. Y'all don't understand this shit, bro. A lot of y'all niggas, look at this picture, bro. This is all of us as kids. See dude right there with the blonde hair? That's me in the background. This is a picture of all of us as kids. Everybody in this picture is born and raised in Watts. We still don't understand where Nipsey came from.
And so when Jay-Z from Rock Nation, aka Tidal, hooked Nipsey up with DJ Khaled, and then DJ Khaled hooked Nipsey up with David Gross, this is where everything began to fall apart. And so when Jay-Z from Rock Nation, aka Tidal, hooked Nipsey up with DJ Khaled, and then DJ Khaled hooked Nipsey up with David Gross, this is where everything began to fall apart. Now, I personally never saw any additional footage of T.I. right along with David Gross and Nipsey Hussle or Charlamagne the God before Nipsey passed away, talking about Vector 90 or the community improvement or black community initiatives or anything like that. In fact, a couple of years back, Charlamagne the God actually made a negative comment about Lauren London.
Jokes, giggles, whatever. Then I see Nipsey. He's like, well, since we sharing our sense of humor, then he does what everybody does when they want to get at Charlamagne. They post a video of me getting jumped, or those guys attempting to jump.
Buy back the block, I'm about to buy back the city. Buy back the city. Buy back the city.
So, of course, one of the weirdest parts that came out in recent months was that Charlamagne the God had given Lauren London a piece of jewelry Designed by Greg Una.
But it was a regime change up there. 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 And Charlie Walk signed me when Brandon Creed and a dude named Adam Granite was in that building, and then also Johnny Shipes. Mm-hmm. So it was a team of people, and then Jim McDaniels also. That was, you know, they believed in me. They had power in that building. And then when they left, it was a whole new cast that came in. And I mean, I'm sure y'all know what happened when the regime change happened. Regime change happened. Regime change happened at the label. Right. You know, you don't really get credit for what's already signed, and it's in your interest to bring new talent to the building. So they ain't dropped me, but I just had a convo with the general manager. I'm like, bro, I know how to get it out the trunk. You know what I mean? I appreciate what we done. Let's work for another year. And if we can't get the album out, just let me go back. And what happens is that when you announce a deal, it's like a press window. You get like 30 days of press. They write about you, and I wanted that to roll into the album. The album, got you. So I didn't want to make no announcement until the album was turned in. We had a release date, so the announcement, which came December 1st of 2017, right, was the first piece of content. It came out with a single and with a video.
All the years we were real close. Now I see his face through her tears. No, she wishing we were still close. All the years we were real close. Now I see his face through her tears. No, she wishing we were still close.
Now, I really hate to break it to you guys, but I have to let you know this. Charlamagne the God is also bought and sold, repackaged, resold, fell off the turnip truck, fell off the FedEx truck, repackaged and resold back to Jay-Z again, just like all of the other people in this inner circle. And that is the only reason why he apologized to Lauren London, okay? And he bought Lauren London that gold medallion Nipsey Hussle piece.
I've always had an entrepreneurial spirit, and meeting Nip, speaking to Nip, it was refreshing to be able to have a discussion with someone who actually understood the value of what we were setting out to do. It seemed as though he got it instantaneously, and that was just refreshing.
Nip, Tip, Rick Ross, these are people who've been very vocal, visible examples of inner city entrepreneurs who are all about ownership. And so I looked at that and I was like, damn, people are really into Buy Back the Block. They like that. As much as they like the stunning and the flashing and the spending on cars and jewelry, they love it when they see a rapper or an athlete or someone from our community own a business, invest in property. And more people would do it if there were implementable tools, resources, information, education that was kind of turnkey. So I took Buy Back the Block, and we're buttoning it up, making it corporate, providing a structure, and distilling it to information that hopefully anybody from our communities can take and do something with it.
This paper planes, the same paper planes that he forced Nipsey to sell in the Marathon clothing store, knowing good and well that Nipsey would not be here today. This is the only reason why you see Charlamagne the God jumping through hoops for Lauren London. We all know that it made no sense. David Gross made it seem like Vector 90 was going to be a non-profit opportunity where he would be partnering with Nipsey.
Hey, much love and respect to successful ladies. Y'all say I can't speak well, so I'm letting us do one thing. Now I want you to tell me that David Gross did not replace Nip with Tip. Huh? It took this man whole swag. Listen to this dude, Tiffany Harris, right here.
We have to create opportunities and platforms and things that will generate more wealth and opportunity into our communities that have been blighted and underserved for so long. We have to take that opportunity and redistribute it to the people who deserve it and need it the most.
Now that's what you call a goddamn shame. Right in front of our face, they gonna take this man's place and ideals.
Here's a posting from DJ Khaled's Instagram account on December the 4th, 2017, and he says, DJ Khaled, congrats my brother at David A. Gross on the launch of your new company at Vector 90. I see you doing big things for entrepreneurs in the community. No mention of Nipsey Hussle at all. Now, why was that? Because Nipsey Hussle is nowhere on that paperwork, which is the reason why they're not able to fulfill their orders. You see, Jay-Z, DJ Khaled, and David Gross actually own the real estate that's sitting under the store.
Between two business partners, Nipsey and his David Gross, for underrepresented entrepreneurs to get representation. And on top of that, Nipsey had already been successful with his STEM program that he had already put in LA by his damn self.
So you can see that David Gross owns 2 LLCs. I own 2 LLCs. One of his other LLCs is CDG Middle Line LLC. His second article of incorporation is 90 Alton Road, Unit 2007. And guess what? Miami Beach, Florida is where his first LLC is located. And then the other LLC that you saw was for the Scrollin Ventures. And it says, for this LLC, CDG Middle Line LLC, the mailing address of the limited liability company is 1411 5th Street, 402 Santa Monica, California. The law offices that he's got his articles of incorporation and his registration as LLC under is located also in Miami, Florida. Scrollin and Crenshaw Ventures LLC on January 29, 2019. Why, if he had already had business dealings with Nipsey Hussle, would he have done this? And Nipsey Hussle is nowhere mentioned on this LLC. And listen, I have 2 LLCs, so I know you can add additional people onto your LLC if you would like to do that. Instead of him saying the business address is Nipsey Hussle's business address, which he owns, he says that his business address is 6111 S Gramercy Place, Los Angeles, California. And he also says his mailing address is 1411 5th Street, Suite 402.
Buy back the block, I'm about to buy back the city. Buy back the city. Buy back the city.
Boom, man, look here. The truth don't need no help. It ain't gonna bend, break, nor fold. And if you want more information, potent information, go to Lovely Ladies. Her link will be in the description. And if you just so happen to see Jay-Z, DJ Khaled, or David Gross, you see them hoes to go get us some big, beautiful, bitch-ass niggas.
Boy, go run down to Checkers and get us some big Bufords.
That sound like the plan.
That's the play and some fries.
This credit improvement successory by Credit Karma is stunning.
Oh yeah, it's an elegant way to show you use Credit Karma to learn about the factors affecting your credit and how to get your scores from fair to flair. Ooh. Download Intuit Credit Karma for free and start successorizing your credit today.
So you have a clearance, right? You're in uniform, you have a clearance. When did you leave service? What year?
I left in 2013, February
2013. Who was the president, if you recall?
2013 would have been President Obama, sir.
Wasn't President Trump, right?
No, sir.
Okay, so you have a clearance, right? You're serving in uniform, you have a clearance.
Yes,
Your
sir.
story, I think many of us are kind of picturing the scene. You walk out in the flight line, having a smoke. this event occurs. Do you have the perception, at least I do, based on your story, that this involves the U.S. government? Whatever you saw involves the U.S. government.
That is 100% my opinion then and now.
And was there an after action? Do you do a daily debrief of the activities of the day? Was any of that recorded? Was there a conversation with the command? Was there any documentation that you know of at the time?
Not to my knowledge. I mean, like I said, I talked about it in on the ops floor, and a couple of people had pulled me aside, some older enlisted, and were like, you probably want to keep that to yourself.
So did you get the impression that they knew what you were talking about, just didn't want you to harm your career or seem crazy, or that they didn't really witness? Did you know anybody else that witnessed what you saw?
Again, not that night. Like I said, the only people that would have been out there would have been security forces, and then those of us that were doing
security forces in uniform or contract?
Probably both.
Did you talk to them? Did anybody talk to them in an after action?
Not to my knowledge, sir.
Was there any interest in the command to determine and verify what you saw?
Not to my knowledge, sir.
It's unfortunate. Chief Wiggins, thank you for your service. Gentlemen, thanks all of you for your courage to be here. Your story's a little bit different. Sounds like it, well, for both of you guys, and also Mr. Nusatelli, if this were sanctioned by the U.S. government, even though you have a clearance, but it's classified above the clearance level, do you see any reason why they would allow you access, being present, viewing it, hearing it, being around it? Like, what is this, an accident? Like, does the U.S. government make these kind of accidents? They make accidents, mistakes like this? Like, we're doing this test of this new system, and we forgot these guys were standing here. Does that sound like something that the U.S. government would do?
No, sir. Some of the launches we were doing were like $5 billion projects that had taken like 10 years to develop the technology. And these objects were coming right up to the launch pad. So any kind of mistake, I mean, it could cause a catastrophe.
Right.
So it's very confusing why these objects would be operating in and around our bases or during training exercises.
So it would lend you to believe that the U.S. government had nothing to do with whatever it is you saw.
Correct.
They wouldn't want it there because it would potentially interrupt the proceedings at the time. Was there an after action? Was there a discussion by your command was there an investigation? It's pretty significant activities that you were involved in. Was there an investigation that you know of?
We conducted investigations in real time.
Right.
And we document all the evidence, but as far as anything from higher up, I don't know if there was an investigation done. No information came down on what we should do.
Were you ever interviewed at someone else's request?
About that incident?
Yeah, about the incident.
I don't believe so.
Do you think you find that odd? If something happens, you're around multi-million, maybe billion-dollar operations and launches of national security interests, very sensitive. There's an anomaly in the operation.
The only person witnessed it, saw a UAP at Vandenberg at that time frame, that was interviewed was the one that witnessed the thing land.
I don't know why I'm asking you, but it seems to me that we would want to interview everybody associated, even not associated, to find out if they were associated. Chief Wiggins, how about you? Was there an investigation? Was there an after action? Was there documentation on the incident that you were privy to?
No, sir, not that I know of. And in my previous experience as an operations specialist, all operations that I've been a part of have been deliberate. So they're
in deliberate operations. After the operations, you conduct an after-action review, or that's what the Army calls it. I don't know what I imagine the Navy has something similar to determine your weaknesses, your successes. Did you do that in regard to this incident?
No, sir. The Navy calls it after-action reports. And not to my knowledge was there an after-action report of this incident, sir.
It's unfortunate. Thank you, Chair. I yield.
Renting a car for your next family road trip on the Turo app means extra fun, extra friends, and extra love. For all of life's extras, rent on the Turo app.
I now recognize Mr. Biggs for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you to the witnesses for being here today. I'll tell you that today's testimony should alarm every American, no matter their views on UAPs. This isn't simply about UAPs. It's about government integrity, responsible use of taxpayer funds, and Congress's constitutional duty to oversee the executive branch. We've heard evidence of critical information hidden in special access programs, off limits to virtually every elected representative, and certainly to the public. Credible witnesses report retaliation for speaking out. These are clear attempts to silence those who are exposing the truth. We must protect the whistleblowers. And decades of government disinformation have eviscerated public trust. So this isn't a partisan matter. It's a constitutional matter. And when you talk about the VAs, Mr. Spielberger, and all the problems that they had, the hub of that was Phoenix. And they went after the whistleblowers there. And that was under the Obama administration. So it doesn't matter which administration, which party, both parties have got to come clean, particularly on this. So if the government thinks it can hide the truth and punish those who speak out, Congress has to keep pushing until the facts, whatever they are, wherever they lead, come to light. I'm going to go to you, Mr. Knapp, first. You've interviewed numerous UAP whistleblowers over the years. Question is, how do you verify their claims before deciding they're credible enough to report on?
It's a combination of factors. First, you check their credentials. Did they really serve where they said they did? And did they work where they said they did? Are there any other witnesses? Is there visual proof, film, footage, things of that sort? You ask the people around them that know them, that used to work with them. If they're credible people, that's one way. You know, I think about Arrow, the organization that this body created to deal with witnesses and whistleblowers. I hope I'm not taking too much of your time here, but they invited people to come forward, service members who knew, saw things and had experiences. And I can tell you that the people that I have talked to who went through that are deeply disappointed. There was a guy named Bob Jacobs who was a lieutenant attached to Vandenberg in 1964. His unit would record missile tests. They recorded all of them. On one of this particular tests, a UFO comes out of nowhere, zaps what looks like a laser beam at what would have been a nuclear dummy, a nuclear weapon, and disabled it. And he is called into the commander's office. Two guys in suits clip that film footage out that shows the UFO, and he's ordered to never talk about it. He comes forward to Arrow. He heeds the call, thinking he's doing his duty as an American to tell that story, and they completely dismissed him. They made up a story that they had tracked down the original footage, and there was nothing like that in it. Well, there was no original footage. It had been taken away the day the footage was recorded. He's deeply disappointed. People like Bob Salas, who had worked at a nuclear ICBM base, who saw UFOs flying over the base, and these missile silos were taken down. He went to Arrow too and was completely disregarded. It almost looks like Arrow operated as a counterintelligence operation to get people to come in, tell their stories, and then discredit all of them. I can't imagine that any whistleblower or witness will ever go to Arrow again because of what happened under the first director, who's now long gone, but still seems to act as the spokesperson for that organization.
And I would say, Madam Chair, maybe at some point we need to really dig deep into Arrow, and I would encourage us.
Oh, I'd be happy to send maybe a subpoena to Mr. Kilpatrick.
There you go. Mr. Nucatelli, you've testified that official Air Force records of the Red Square incident are now held by Arrow and the FBI. Has Congress or you been denied access to those records, and on what grounds would we be denied access, you or us?
No, the records are unclassified, so
okay,
provide them to me.
In the 2003 to 2005 incidents you described, were any physical effects, electromagnetic interference, radio anomalies, or security system disruptions documented in base logs or any reports, official reports?
Not to my knowledge.
Mr. Wiggins, has the full resolution unedited footage of your incident been provided to Congress?
Yes.
Okay. Were you or your crew ever instructed formally or informally not to document or discuss the event? Ever?
No.
Good. Mr. Borland, you've talked about manipulation of your security clearance records. Can you identify which agencies or offices were responsible and whether they provided any written justification?
I can do that in a skiff, sir, 100%. Because of being a part of a multi-agency special access program, I cannot give those publicly.
So I'd encourage us, Madam Chair, to have that skiff meeting if we can. And then, Mr. Borland, again for you. You testified that you withheld certain sources and methods from Arrow due to mistrust. Can you give us some specifics that led you to believe they were misrepresenting the truth?
Well, as I said already, what I said about scientific methods, scientific control, extraterrestrials, I mean, I know what I've seen, I know what I know, and I know it's true. So any agency that's going to go public and try and manipulate the public perception of this subject in such a way that is negative when I know the truth about it is why I had extreme reservations with it, and also what I've been through and other whistleblowers and people in the know about this subject have been through.
So, Madam Chair, thank you for letting me wave on. I think the key thing there you talked about was manipulation of message, manipulation of narrative. That is really the problem with this entire the system that we've seen since you've started these wonderful hearings, Madam Chair, and I thank you so much.
Thank you, Representative Biggs. The chair would now like to recognize Mr. Begich for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First question, Mr. Borland, earlier today you mentioned that in a skiff, you would be able to discuss whether a member of Congress is actually legally able to access certain information. Under what authority would a member of Congress be restricted from accessing information on this topic, even within a skiff?
I would suggest reaching out to Director Gabbard and speaking with her about that. I'm hopeful that this goes back to the executive branch and who even has authority. Unfortunately, I can't give you a 100% solid answer because I don't even have that knowledge.
Next question to George Knapp. What is the estimated annual budget, your view, for the program for investigating or reverse engineering UAP-related technology, including official, misappropriated, or black budget funds?
I wouldn't have a clue. I don't know of any person that's ever seen it.
Does anyone on this panel wish to address that question? Okay, moving on. Are any of you willing to name specific gatekeepers within the root cell of the UAP-SAP Federation?
It's mobile now available at Walmart. Buy select 5G phones and we'll pay you back. That's right. We'll pay back up to $200. Plus, get unlimited data, talk and text. Buy and activate a phone with Boost Mobile at Walmart today.
Farmers Home Furniture is celebrating the best gifts of all, comfort, beginning with Lazy Boy recliners as low as $5.99. Upgrade your home with reclining sofas starting at $7.49. Give the gift of relaxation with a massage or lift chair. Mattresses as low as $40 a month. Employee-owned, local service with 12 months, no interest financing. Plus, enter to win a 60th anniversary Ford Mustang GT or a shopping spree when you visit any Farmers Home Furniture location now through December 20th. This season, celebrate the joys of home and family. Farmers Home Furniture, your hometown store.
You mean specific people and contractors that have dealt with us and kept the secret?
Specific individuals.
Well, one of them was named Dr. James Ryder at Lockheed. But, you know, again, to emphasize, I don't fault these contractors for doing what they were asked to do by our government. They're supposed to lie if people ask about it. And the intelligence agencies who gave this stuff to them, CIA, I think primarily, told them to keep it quiet. And they've done that. And I suspect that they'd like an off-ramp. That they'd like some help with figuring out this technology at some point.
And this is, again, available to anyone, is there a security classification guide for UAP or NHI?
I remember in the 2003 or 2023 hearing, it was stated that all UAP related material is classified secret or above.
I have a name for you.
Go ahead.
Glenn Gaffney, CIA.
Glenn Gaffney, CIA. Another question for you, Mr. Knapp. What is, in your view, having investigated this issue for so many years, what is the long game with respect to disclosure of this information to the public? Because with the advent of essentially a video camera and a high megapixel phone in everybody's pocket, at some point, this information is going to be impossible to withhold from the public. What do you think is the long game here?
Well, the secret's out. I mean, how many videos have there been already? You know, videos that are leaked from within the military and intelligence agencies and contractors and sensor platforms. It's out there. But they have the high ground. The people that don't want us to take it seriously dismiss it, discredit the witnesses, come up with a cover story. I mean, it's been out there a long time. The public senses that it's real, and the people in authority dismiss them. It's a game that's been going on a long time, and I don't think they're ever going to release it. I think that there's an attitude among the people that have been involved in this for a long time that the public doesn't deserve to know, and that the public probably can't handle it, but they can.
Final question, again, this one's open to anyone who'd like to answer it. Describe your understanding of the org chart or lines of control within the executive branch with respect to these topics. And if you'd like to address that in a skiff, feel free to say so.
That could work as long as I'm legally allowed to and you are legally allowed to receive it.
I think these programs are in the executive branch, National Security Council, and over on that side. That seems to be what some of our witnesses have told us over the years. So you can, Congress can file all kinds of requests. The FOIAs can be filed with the Department of Defense, Department of War now, and they can honestly say, well, we don't have it, because they don't have it.
Thank you. Is there anything in my remaining 30 seconds that you'd like to share on any of these questions that I've asked you today?
I applaud the committee for trying to tackle this monster of an issue. I really appreciate that it might be the only bipartisan issue in Washington where everybody can agree. We've watched multiple hearings now. Everyone is asking the same kind of questions, whether right or left, and honestly want the answers. And Chairman Luna, Chairwoman Luna, I appreciate your dedication to this, Tim Burchett and the other members for sticking with it, because it's come up in Congress before, and they had hearings, and then they dropped it for 50 years. So it's going to take a lot of time to get to the bottom of this, and I applaud your commitment to getting to the truth.
Thank you, Mr. Knapp. Pursuant to Committee Rule 9C.
Madam Chair, can I ask a parliamentary question of you?
Yeah, sure.
Does this subcommittee have the authority to do subpoenas?
Task force. So the task force, to answer that question, has to do it through full committee.
Okay.
So, and also in regards to immunity, which to Mr. Borland's point, we are going to be doing a motion to ask for immunity for you and a few other people to come into a skiff and tell us what you know without being subject to the Espionage Act, etc.
Thank you, ma'am.
So that's just kind of an update. But as a task force, because we are not a full subcommittee and there are certain authorities that haven't been granted to us, probably because they don't want us to have it. But there are ways to work around it, so we're kind of figuring that out. Pursuant to Committee Rule 9C, the majority and minority will have an additional 30 minutes each to ask questions of the witnesses without objection. So ordered. With that being said, if you guys want to jump in the queue, I know Representative Crane, Burleson, and likely Burchett have a few more questions. I'll just start out with two, and then I'll pass the buck to Burleson. Burchett, do you have anything?
Yeah.
Burchett and then Crane. Just real quick, Mr. Knapp, and short answers, please, because of time. How much of these alleged Russian crash retrieval documents have already been physically out there? So, I mean, percentage-wise of the documents that you submitted to Congress, what was public already and what was not newly?
Maybe 1%.
Okay, so the rest of it should be predominantly new information.
Yep.
Also, can you just elaborate real quick? I know you had, I think, mentioned a Thread 3 program, but also alleged in those documents, I got through maybe half of them last night. There's a lot, and I don't speak Russian, contrary to what my people might allege. What does the Thread 3, was there any specific programs that existed within the Soviet government or groups to specifically investigate this by name real quick?
it's a number. There's a number in those documents I gave you. There was a larger program that actually had 3 sub-programs. That was Thread 3 was the name I got, and then the DIA guys who looked at it figured out there was a much larger organization.
And it's listed in those documents?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Real quick, I'd like to ask the committee to replay that video that Burleson had played earlier. I want to ask every witness here, specifically ones that have sensor training or have been able to recognize some of this movement real quick. So if you guys can please roll that real quick. Okay, while this is still rolling, Mr. Nusatelli, real quick yes or no answers. Are you aware of anything in the government, United States government arsenal that can split a Hellfire missile like this?
No.
And do whatever blob thing it did and then keep going? Nothing?
Nothing.
All right, how about you, Chief Wiggins?
Nothing to my knowledge, ma'am.
Okay, and how about you, Mr. Borland?
I prefer to answer that in a skiff.
Okay, does this video scare you guys? Yes or no?
Yes.
Wiggins?
Yes.
Nat?
I had a different reaction. I was really happy that it got out. Thanks for providing
Curiosity
that,
kills the
Congressman.
cat. All right, Mr. Borland?
Yes, for...
Okay. All right, that is the end of my questioning. I'd like to now recognize Mr. Crane.
Thank you. Chief, I was on a ship for a little bit. I was a gunner's mate on the USS Gettysburg for a couple of years. My question to you is, when you had your encounter and you saw it on the screen, you were in the CIC, is that correct?
That's correct. On an LCS ship, the CIC is on the bridge, so it's called ICC-1, but yes, same.
Did a bunch of the other folks in the CIC come and check out what you were looking at?
Yes, we all did. The tactical action officer, myself, the RCO, and 2 others that were on watch. We were all in the same space, so we were all looking at the Sapphire screen all at the same time.
Because in the other couple instances with the witnesses, you guys just saw it by yourself. Is that correct? Mr. Borland, you saw it by yourself?
For me, yes, sir.
Mr. Nusatelli, you saw this by yourself?
No, there were multiple witnesses in every case at Vandenberg.
Okay. So, Chief, did that spread like wildfire throughout the ship in the next day or two, what you guys had seen?
No, sir, it didn't spread throughout the ship, but it spread throughout ICC-1 conversation. As you do your turnover, we talk about it, but it didn't go further than just the watchstanders that stood watch on the bridge and in ICC-1. So it did move around there throughout a few days.
I'm kind of surprised. Stuff usually spreads around the ship pretty fast. Why do you think the rest of your fellow sailors on the boat didn't hear about it?
Potentially uninterest, possibly, with engineers or combat systems like yourself, don't make their way up to the bridge enough to get within sight of the circle of talk about the incident.
Was it hard for you to get permission from the Navy to bring that video?
I myself didn't bring the video. I just saw the video. When I saw the video, I got in touch with Admiral Gallaudet. That's how I wind up knowing about the video itself when I first talked to the Admiral. And you can hear my voice at the back end of the video, and I was like, hey, that's my voice, and I wanted to talk about it.
How long did that encounter take place, Chief?
So the encounter itself, from the time I recognized on my radar to the time after the video ends, was probably about 5 to 7 minutes.
What speed was the object moving at?
When I first witnessed off the port bridge wing the object moving out of the water, what I thought was originally just a light on the water or something on the horizon, and surfacing and going into the air, I then knew it was an air contact. But as an air controller myself, I started thinking and going through kind of like my checklist in my mind. Could it be a helo? But it's not blinking lights. So I then realized this is something I've never seen before. So the speed itself, just going from the horizon to about maybe 3,000-4,000 feet in the air, was very slow, slowly rising. And then it sped up. I'm not an expert at, knowing specific speeds of aircraft just by visual eye, but I would say probably 1-2 Mach instantly into the rest of the formation. I didn't notice visually with my own eyes the other 3 objects until I went back to my radar and also utilized Sapphire to see that, in fact, there were 4 total. And then again, when they all left after a certain amount of time, it was nearly instantaneous.
So you spotted it visually first, Chief, and then went back to your radar, or did you guys spot it on radar first?
Radar first, because that was my watch station.
And then you went out to the port bridge wing, is that correct?
Correct, to verify what I saw on my radar.
What range was it at, Chief, when you were able to see it visibly?
I would say about 7 nautical miles, 7 to 8 nautical miles of a light from the ship.
Wow. Thank you. I yield back.
I now recognize Mr. Burleson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Chief Wiggins, you said that it emerged from the ocean. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And before it did, it was glowing. It was a glowing object under the water.
That part I couldn't tell because it was nighttime at 1915 approximately, and it was also at a distance. So it's very hard to tell the difference between something on the horizon and something surfacing from the water. My personal thoughts after seeing what I saw is that it did in fact come from the water, but I don't have visual evidence showing exactly, that it did in fact come from the water. But I had to go through my process of elimination and try to figure out, was this a ship on the horizon just showing its lights at night, but to see it surface, then it made me question, okay, where did this come from? If it's flying and it's not a drone or anything like that, where was its origin? Where did it start?
That feeling when your friend drops their shiny new rewards card and you realize you could use one too. Then you remember Intuit Credit Karma gives you recommendations personalized to you, so it's easy to find the right card. Sweet. Download the app to get started.
Boom! My prize picks lineup is going off, Marshawn.
Feels good to be right.
Unlike that time you did that endorsement deal.
No, more like when you self-published that cookbook.
Activate sad mode, bruh. Yeah, I guess it's hard to know when you write, but not here.
Feels good, pal. Define it. I smell weird, but I feel good.
Pick, predict, play. Download today. Get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right.
Mr. Knapp, in your testimony and in this document, you detail an event that happened in Russia where their nuclear missiles were activated, and we were close to World War III at that time, which is startling to hear. It's also good to know that as we have investigated the JFK files as well, that we're learning that that there was a document that was sent between Russia, there was an agreement between Russia and the United States that if they were to see some unidentified objects over sensitive sites, that they would report it to each other. Are you familiar with that document?
Yes, I'm also familiar with the rhetoric, public rhetoric between President Reagan and Gorbachev at the time, too, that they traded statements about, wouldn't it be something if we were threatened by something from way outside, how we might work together. I know for sure that they had conversations about it, and I know we did reach an agreement to try to lessen the possibility that us detecting a UFO or group of UFOs would not be mistaken for a bunch of Russian missiles. There were exchanges of that sort that went back and forth.
Yeah, and I can imagine this is, to me, the validity of this document is underscored by the fact that Russia would not want this to be known. They absolutely would not want to know, the public to know, or the United States to know, that there was a vulnerability in their missile systems. Would you agree?
Absolutely. And, and we had many similar incidents at our nuclear weapons facilities here that have all been sort of swept under the rug. But it's pretty scary when you take down 10 missile silos during tense times, and you don't have a better explanation for it than it was a special test of security mechanisms or using EMPs, which is a preposterous explanation.
Real quick, we're going to cut to Mr. Ogles. He just got back. So we're in a special kind of lightning round, so 5 minutes, and then we'll go back to our line of questioning.
Thank you, Madam Chair. At this point, I think it's clear from the hearing that there's advanced technologies that are taking place in our airspace. The question is, and I posed it in one of the previous hearings, is it ours, is it theirs, or is it otherworldly? There may not be a silver bullet at the moment, but when you look back through the hearing and the evidence that's been presented, if you're going to point the American people to one piece of evidence to start their journey on this topic, what would you suggest, sir?
One piece of evidence. I would start with this hearing, in the first hearing. There is no evidence.
But is there a specific, but is there a specific evidence or footage or document that you think lends extreme credibility to what we're discussing today?
I would say this new video we're seeing today is exceptional evidence that we're dealing with something.
With the kinetic?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Wiggins?
Sir, I'd have to say that if just the average person here in America looked at absolutely everything that has come across television, the internet, etc., you can't tell yourself that 100% of what's being recorded is fake or false. You have to, at some point, understand that there's something else out there.
Well, I mean, and you bring an interesting point. In the law enforcement community, anytime you're conducting an investigation, you're always looking at the totality of the circumstances. You're looking at all of the evidence and how they piece together. And so that would be my, advice to the American people, that this is a journey that is just beginning from a congressional perspective, but you have decades of data, some of it not real, much of it is, but thanks to Chairwoman Luna, we're now presenting this to the American people. And I think this latest video from Mr. Burleson is something that should get everyone pause. When you see the 3 orbs that drop, was that in a defensive posture, or was that in an offensive posture? And what capabilities did those orbs have that we, quite frankly, may not have? Mr. Knapp?
As I mentioned at the beginning of my remarks, what hooked me on the story was the paper trail. These documents that shouldn't exist. We've been told for decades, over and over, there's nothing to it. It's not a threat. You can go about your business. And then when FOIA becomes the law of the land, thousands of pages to the contrary leak out. There's a memo by General Nathan Twining in 1947 when the country was being overflown by dozens of UFOs, hundreds of UFOs, in which he said, look, this is not visionary or fictitious, it's real. These things are craft. They're not ours. They outperform anything we've got. I mean, if you follow the paper trail of documents that they wrote before the military got wise and realized that FOIA really exists and changed their tune and not put things in writing, it spells it out pretty clearly. I'll go refer back to Russia. One incident I did not mention to Representative Burleson is Colonel Sokolov in that Ministry of Defense program said there were 40 incidents where Russian warplanes were sent to intercept UFOs.
Look at in and out things. That